turned quickly. Sure enough, the rest of the villains had seized the opportunity to attack while the heroes were talking to Victor. They came charging over the nearest rise en masse, with the Enchantress in the lead. Kang was beside her, already firing. Spectrum flashed into pure light and dodged the beam from Kang's gun. Behind them came the Wrecking Crew, Molecule Man, Dr. Octopus, and the Lizard. Two of the Wrecking Crew, Bulldozer and Piledriver, piloted a three-legged turret with a mounted cannon. They blazed away recklessly, the cannon fire chewing up huge pieces of ground, sending the heroes scattering. As he stretched and dodged, Reed regretted their trip to the crash site. It had cost them precious time that they could have used to find and exploit whatever resources the Beyonder had left here on
Battleworld.
Was it the Beyonder's voice saying this? Reed didn't know. It felt the same as his own thoughts, and that was dangerous. The rest of the heroes rallied.
X-Men, to me!
Wolverine's claws snapped out. He dropped into a fighting crouch, waiting for the first target to come within leaping distance.
Avengers, assemble!
Cap charged to the forefront of the group.
Avengers? We're not all Avengers.
Remember what the Beyonders say! Line up the body bags and we get anything we want! Who needs an excuse?
Bulldozer manned one of the guns on the turret and blasted away at Thor, who held tight his mighty hammer Mjolnir as it soared ahead of the rest of the heroes' group.
Let's just do it!
Only Doc Ock seemed to hesitate.
Wait, we must strike all at once.
But none of the other villains were listening. The battle was on, and all of them had the Beyonder's words ringing in their heads.
Slay your enemies, and all you desire shall be yours.
A shot from the turret tripod blew apart the rock outcropping on which the heroes had mustered, catapulting them through the air. Those who could fly regained their balance while aloft. The others crashed down hard onto the broken landscape. Hawkeye was lucky enough to land on his feet with his bow nearby. He grabbed it and knocked an arrow, peering through the cloud of dust for targets. Cap dug himself out of the rubble.
Hulk, we need 2 seconds to regroup.
These things hit like Thor's hammer.
Cyclops was down after taking a direct hit. Lockheed the Dragon hovered close by and blasted Doc Ock with fire.
Hawkeye, take out that gun.
Hawkeye took aim.
Gotcha.
He popped one of the Wrecking Crew with a concussion arrow. He wasn't sure which one of the Wrecking Crew. Who could tell those guys apart? Hulk hefted a giant chunk of rock to flatten the turret, but Kang anticipated his move. The pistol in Kang's hand was small, but it packed a big punch. The shrapnel sent She-Hulk and Spider-Man running for cover. Reed had stretched himself out to protect some of the fallen, including Rogue, who had gone down in the first barrage from the tripod. They were going to need her, Buckeye thought. Rogue packed a combination of raw strength and power absorption that would come in real handy when dealing with the villain's superior numbers and their willingness to kill. Cyclops was struggling back to his feet, just as another pile of rocks flew their way. Hawkeye ducked, but a flying stone caught him in the head and momentarily stunned him. When he'd gotten his eyes uncrossed, he saw that Thor and Cap had flanked the villains, while Iron Man and the Thing had baited the trap as targets in a perfect kill box below an overhung rock outcropping.
Watch it, Shellhead.
As the villains charged in, Iron Man hauled Ben Grimm out of the way.
Now, Thor!
And Thor brought down Mjolnir on the rock outcropping. The rock exploded and tumbled in an avalanche that covered Kang, Thunderball, the Wrecker, and the Lizard. The villains had rushed ahead, looking to overwhelm the Avengers and the rest of the good guys. Dumb move, Clint thought. It was tough to outthink Cap in a battlefield situation. The good guys had taken some losses early on, but now they were turning the tide. The Hulk had gotten close enough to the turret tripod that he could grab one of its legs. Whatever alloy it was made of resisted him for a moment, but he got it in both hands and twisted. Piledriver and Bulldozer spilled out, and Johnny Storm kept them occupied with his special brand of hot foot. Cyclops blew apart the fallen tripod with an optic blast.
Nice. After I did all the hard work,
On the other side of the fallen rocks, Reed had been forced to leave the Fallen and fight on his own. She-Hulk ambushed the Enchantress before she could deliver a killing blow to the fallen rogue.
A green woman? Is there no end to the variety of mortals? Unhand me!
Enchantress slapped She-Hulk away with a backhand discharge of arcane energy. Clint took a shot at the Enchantress, hoping she'd be distracted enough that her magical senses wouldn't detect the arrow coming. That didn't work. She flicked it out of the air while it was still yards away. But in that brief moment, She-Hulk's left-handed haymaker sent Enchantress crashing hard into the tumbled rocks.
Wow! It's not too often that I get to really unload on someone who's solid enough to take it.
Clint noted that the Enchantress didn't answer. In fact, she didn't move at all. The villains were on the run, at least the ones who could still run. Doc Ock led the way, moving on his tentacles with incredible speed. Clint started to line him up.
Hold fire, Hawkeye. We've got prisoners already and we need to consolidate our position. Let's not make the same mistake they did by overextending ourselves.
Clint was a little irritated to be stood down like that when he'd just gotten started, but they were a team. Staying a team was how they were going to survive this situation.
Storm, do a quick recon and see if there's defensible shelter anywhere near here.
Aurora Monroe found it easy to fly on this world, almost as if it had been made with her desires in mind. The air bore her up. The currents of water and magnetism and electricity, all the invisible forces that conspired to create weather, all of them were more intense here. She could do anything, if she only wished for it. She flew high above the shattered piecework terrain of Battleworld, seeing where one planet's remains ended and others began. She saw fights among animals that had evolved billions of miles apart. She saw fantastic landscapes that could not have existed on Earth. She saw cities destroyed by the shock of their upheaval, small villages, ruins of long-vanished civilizations, accidentally swept up, and the creation of this planet. That was Battleworld to the senses, the eyes and ears and nose, but she flew faster than she ever had, and the weather obeyed her like never before. Everything she had struggled to master on Earth came easily to her here. The vast engines of weather seemed designed for her, the clouds waiting to gather at her command, every molecule of water begging her to make it rain, the bottomless well of electrical energies crackling at her fingertips and sparking from the ends of her hair. On Earth, Aurora could control the weather. On Battleworld, the weather submitted itself to her. She understood then what the Beyonder truly offered. It would be very hard to resist.